So, while I'm waiting for the first video to still render, let me go ahead and go to one of my absolute favorite content creators. Should be no surprise for those of you guys who have watched my channel, but that is the one and only Mike O from that chapter. Now, I'm shocked. I actually missed this one. I do not recall this one whatsoever, so I'm anxious to get into this one. Yeah, I'm sure just like every single one of his other videos, always well researched, always well put together, always entertaining, humor where there needs to be humor, and sympathy where there needs to be sympathy. He's just an all-around awesome content creator. Make sure you subscribe to him. Make sure you like his videos. Come on, guys. Let's do this for Mike. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and give this a go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name's Mike, and in this old video, to set the scene is it's a classic. You got marriage, you got motive, you got life insurance, which, as you all know, it's my personal favorite, and you got a plot. One thought I have behind all of these cases when I'm looking into them is it's kind of amazing how many people think they can get away with the old, in and out, with a knife, that is. Because kind of by that logic, there must be a whole bunch of people who did it and got away with it. Which is kind of frightening, and they're probably standing behind you right now. Or maybe in front of you. Edit that part out. Let's give this story a go. This story takes us to Elmira, New York. Where else? It's a hike from both New York City and Buffalo, though curiously near Syracuse. That Finger Lake area, I would have no reason to know of it other than crime stories being set there, and I feel like I know it pretty well at this stage. I don't know what's going on there. It should be called Point the Finger Lake, because they're just mad for the killing. So, what can you find in Elmira you can't find anywhere else? Well, Mark Twain. If you had a time machine that took you back 150 years. Also Tommy Hilfiger, he lives there. The killers like to be well dressed, I guess. The city has a population of about 26,000 people, and it's a quaint little place. Parks, arenas, a carousel from the 1800s. Very nice. So that's the good points. The bad points are that the crime rate is not so fantastic.
Really?
Bummer. And this story only adds to that when the Clayton family, were living there, they settled there, and they kind of fell apart there. Just after midnight on the 29th of September 2015, this call came in to the Elmira Police Department 911.
911.
Help me, my wife, she's dead. Hurry.
Okay, just stay on the line with me. How long has she been down?
I don't know, I just got home.
Sir, you need to calm down so I can help you. What's your name?
My name's Tom.
She be on CPR.
Yes.
Okay, right off the bat, did you see that? Hurry, hurry, hurry. My wife is dead. Send help? Was that what I read? Let me start this over.
Just after midnight on the 29th of September 2015, this call came in to the Elmira Police Department 911.
911.
Help me, my wife.
Help me, my wife. She's dead. Hurry. Okay. She's dead. You want them to hurry for what reason? Which, remember, these 911, the good ones, they're very well trained. So if he's saying hurry, hurry, or hurry, help me, the next logical question is going to be,
She's dead. Hurry.
Okay, just stay on.
how long has she been down? He didn't say dead.
On the line with me. How long has she been down?
I don't know, I just got home.
Sir, you need to calm down so I can help you. What's your name?
My name's Tom.
She be on CPR.
Okay, now, is she beyond CPR? I know a little bit about this, unfortunately. So, quick story. I'll make this one quick because I know I usually go on around about stories. When my stepfather passed away, you could tell he had just opened a beer and probably took a drink of it, lay down on the couch, looked like he passed out. Coroners ruled his death somewhere around noon. My mother didn't get back until 5 o'clock. At the time, she was still working, and brought him dinner. And it wasn't unusual for him to be asleep on his favorite spot in the couch. So she's, calling for him like, hey, wake up here. I brought you some dinner. Let's eat some dinner, blah, blah, blah. She does this over for 10 minutes, and finally she goes and, grabs him, and he's ice cold to the touch. It always amazes me that I don't know if it adds more trauma to somebody who walks in and finds, their loved one deceased when they have absolutely nothing to do with it, and they ask, can you perform CPR? And when they use the term dead weight, I mean, there's a reason for it. My mom is 5'5", 130, 40 pounds, somewhere around there. My stepdad's like maybe 5'7", 170 pounds, 60 pounds, somewhere around there. Put him on the floor and start performing CPR, even though he has been dead for a while. Now, what loved one isn't going to try to do their best to revive somebody that they love and care for? And of course, she tried it. That would cause so much trauma to me if I had found, my loved one had been passed away for some while, which I think most of us can tell if they're stiff, if they're ice cold. I mean, yeah, there have been certain, instances of being able to revive them, but it's one in, I don't even know the statistics, but with this, you could automatically tell right off the bat, it's full of shit.
CPR.
Yeah,
Sir, can you tell me why you think she's beyond CPR?
that's me.
See, Thomas Clayton, he had arrived home to his house just after midnight. He was coming home from his weekly Monday night poker game. He walked into his house on Ginnon Road, kind of on a remote side of town, heavily wooded. And, well, he discovered his wife, Kelly. Well, he found her bloodied body in the kitchen. It looked like someone had come in and beat her to death. They had 2 young children in the house also. Now, thankfully, they were both upstairs. They were traumatized, but they were safe. The police arrived, but there was sweet F all
Oh my God, that breaks my heart. I hope those children are okay, mentally.
to be done. Only catch to the asshole that done did this. But where to begin? Kelly Stage Clayton came onto the stage on the 1st of August 1980. She was the daughter of Elizabeth Stage and Howard Stage. Lots of stages, don't know where I'm going with this. Herself and her 2 older siblings, Kim and Lenny, were all born and reared in Elmira. Howard Stage, he died very unexpectedly in 2012. But by that stage, Kelly had a family all of her own. See, Kelly was known around town. Howard had been fire chief for over 20 years, and so she was always hanging out, she was a familiar face in the town. She was also big into fitness. Pilates was her thing.
And then as you exhale, extend the spine and lift up. Awesome, Kelly.
Kelly graduated from Elmira Free Academy, the local high school where she was on both the softball team and cheerleading squad. Look at you! And then she was out of town. She went to Vegas, baby! She became a cocktail waitress at the Imperial Palace. Doing her thing. Cocktail waitressing. But then after not too long, she was like, F this S, I'm Delia to be going back to Elmira. She wanted to be close to her family, so she moved back home. And home was where Kelly Stage would meet Tom Clayton. See, one day, Kelly, her sister, and her mother, they went to the local, they went to watch a local hockey game. The Elmira Jackals, they're a minor league team. And While sitting in the stands, Kelly, she was got the gooey eyed. She got the look. You know, she saw a player and she just, one of those ice skating princes caught Kelly's eye. Probably because he was beating 7 shades of shite out of anyone who looked at him the wrong way, but not Kelly, no siree. Well, no spoilers.
Superheroes are coming to First Arena this Friday night on and off the ice. Your Elmira Jackals push for the playoffs continues this weekend at First Arena versus the Manchester Monarchs.
See, Thomas Clayton, he had a bit of a reputation. He was known as a hothead on the ice and a ladies' man off of it. Was it love at first sight between Thomas Clayton and Kelly? Well, you know, that's what they say. They went together like peas and carrots. They were, you know, instantaneously bound. For good and for bad. They dated for a number of years, eventually doing the old death to us part. I'm sure Tom said it, you know. 2 children they would have, Charlie a girl, Cullen a boy. And they moved into a house on Ginnon Road. They would move to that rural enough area in 2012. Things were great until they weren't. Though they hadn't been for Tom for a while. See, he, you know, hockey was his life. He had wanted to go pro, but they said no. Womp. Thomas Scott Clayton was born on the 17th of March 1978, Paddy's Day, good man, in Binghamton, New York, only about an hour's drive from Elmira. He was a fine young fella growing up. Sports were his thing. He attended Niagara University in Buffalo and went semi-pro on the ice. He played forward, and after graduating he signed with the Elmira Jackals, a minor league hockey team.
Get one of their top guys off the ice for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you know, it's a job done. You want to you want to fight someone, just like when you're a little kid and you get so mad you just want to fight, you know.
Unfortunately, they're not around anymore. The Jackals, they last played in 2017, so like, were they good? Well, they're not around anymore, so that answers your question. On the ice, Tommy liked to fight. He was the enforcer, the goon. He liked to beat the shite out of the other players he was mad to. So, like, he kind of should have become a boxer, really, if he just wanted to beat the shit out of people. Because he would also sometimes do it off the ice. He was known to be aggressive. Like, he wasn't a big guy, but like, he was this little scrapper. And unfortunately, that mentality didn't just, like, stick to the rink. One time in 2003, Tom and a teammate of his, they got into a bar fight with 4 police cadets. Probably like some of the people you least want to get into a bar fight with. Now, that's a felony, but he got it downgraded to a misdemeanor.
Hold on. So, 4 minor league hockey players or 4 friends or however many he said get into a fight with 4 cadets at a bar drinking. Why would it be a felony? They obviously aren't on duty. I mean, in a way, I kind of get it, because when I was working for the federal government, any crime against me would have been a felony charge. But I wasn't out drinking to where I'm letting my inhibitions to the wind and thinking, you know, I'm Mr. Badass and, you know, oh my God, this dude stared at me wrong, or oh my God, this dude said something to offend me. I'm gonna fucking, you know. I think so many guys are so full of pride that you look at them wrong, like, what the fuck? It's like, dude, just chill out. Wasn't staring at you. I happened to look in that direction because I seen a TV or a really hot chick behind you. Just relax. That hot chick's my girlfriend. Oh my God. Like I said, I've always been the type to just quell any type of anything that I know that's gonna get out of hand. So, yeah, some guys, they just want to watch the world burn. Dark Knight.
Which was very lucky for him. He was a hothead. I guess you could say, you know, he had, he's a bit sensitive, thin-skinned, little dick syndrome, what's it called? That thing. He could be rowdy, but, you know, as well as he could be like that, people also said, you know, he was a family man, he was a decent guy at heart. Just, don't piss him off or he'll probably, sucker punch you. Now, his dream was the NHL, the major leagues. Major leagues for Tommy, but sadly, it was not to be. That probably explains a lot about him, actually. Now, picture this, right? You're at home, surfing the World Wide Web, doing the old clackety-clackety, as the kids say, I think. When suddenly, someone knows who and where you are. They have everything, including that browsing history you thought you deleted late one night. Nah, they got it. Next thing you know, they're in the house and oh my god, they're wearing your face. Why would you let all that happen when you could have been using my new best friends at NordVPN?
Oh, Mike, he just straight up put an advertisement in the middle of his videos. At least he did it with some... he did it smooth.
NordVPN is a and try anywhere in the world you want to be. That link in, get a deal that is into it. He was rejected countless times, and in 2006 he officially retired from hockey. Yeah, sure, retired.
Let me just say though, I don't blame Mike whatsoever for putting advertisements in his videos. He needs more of them, honestly, and a shitload more subscribers. So come on, people, whoever's watching these videos, let me be a conduit to him getting more subscriptions. Damn it.
Yeah, he retired from no one wanting to give him a job. And so from there he went into business with a friend of his, a friend named Brian. They set up a company called ServPro. It would do in renovating, water damage, fire damage, mold. It would come along and fix up your commercial or business property serving the Elmira area. Still proudly serving to this day, and I feel like I'm doing an ad for them. Please pay me. So he had been a hockey player and now he was in, restoration business. Kelly, she worked waiting tables, and also to bring in a little extra cashish, they bought a couple of properties around town and would rent them out to bring in a little extra cha-ching. So all that brings us right back to the night of the 28th of September 2015, early morning 29th. A Monday which, after Tom's weekly poker game, he came home to find his beloved wife Kelly brutally murdered. It seems the kids were sleeping when Kelly, she was attacked in her bed.
God.
There was a blood trail from her bedroom, down the hall to her daughter's room, and then down the stairs. The attacker must have been chasing her the entire way through the house before beating her to death in the kitchen. Her face had been beaten in. It was a very messy scene. And their 7-year-old Charlie, their daughter, she witnessed pretty much the entire thing.
I hope that baby just has been seeing someone I couldn't even imagine.
She saw her mother be beaten to death. She hugged her dead body and then she went upstairs. She hid with her little brother waiting for their dad to come home. I think that's probably incredibly traumatizing, tragic, disturbing, whatever adjective you want to put in there, it's probably all of them. It's about as messed up as it gets. So Tom then, he arrived home just after midnight.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
What's going on?
I'm the neighbor. He
Okay.
just came and got me out of bed. He's right in the house.
Okay, what happened?
His wife is in.
First responders arrived within minutes. They met a neighbor who directed them into the house.
Got blood on the wall, blood on the steps.
Now, right away, the responding officers were suspicious of Tom.
Tom, where were you when this all went down?
Playing poker with my buddies. I came home and my daughter said there was a robber in the house and she saw them.
Okay, come on out here, man. Come on out here. I want you to have a seat. You don't need to see that anymore, okay? All right. Come on.
I get that water.
Yeah, we'll get you water. Take it easy, bud. Take it easy. Come on over here, Tom.
Moderate,
I'm just kidding. You're not in trouble, okay? I'm just going to have a seat so we can talk to you. All right? Take it easy. You're not in trouble. Just sit right there. I'm going to leave the door open. Just sit right there and relax.
They kind of wanted to get Tom out of the house. I mean, I suppose that's kind of, preserve the scene, but it seems like they had their suspicions kind of right away about him. Tom was questioned pretty quickly, not as a suspect, but and he was immediate, to the police, guys, I have a GPS, it's on my car, so it couldn't have been me. Kelly had fought hard against her attacker. She'd fought for her life, and so whoever did this must have been strong, like a former hockey player. Nothing was robbed, no signs of forced entry. I know it comes up again and again, it doesn't mean there wasn't forced entry, but it's one of the things he searched for first, though the garage door was open. No things were rummaged through. Seems like Kelly's life was the sole objective. As I said, Tom, he kind of had thought of everything before he even spoke to the police. He was like, guys, I have a GPS on my truck.
Wow.
It tracks where I was, so the investigation then began. There was a pond out back that was drained. They were going through every inch of the property, questioning everyone and anyone they could think of. And, something that kind of came up again and again and again was like, Kelly would have no enemies. There was nobody who would have it in for her. No motive to speak of, on the surface, as somebody hated her, so they wanted to kill her, and they did. Weird place for such a random act of violence, though, as well, kind of a remote place. This isn't like in the city where somebody might just randomly kill you. This is like out in the boonies. And Tom kept on coming back. See, Charlie, the witness to her own mother's brutal murder, told the cops that, although she didn't understand what she witnessed.
Charlie, do you know why we brought you here today? Okay, we're gonna have to talk a little bit about last night, okay?
She said the robber looked like her dad and had the same eyes as him.
This guy came and started hitting my mom with this pipe thingy. He looks like my dad. And why did...
God. I seriously feel like crying.
you say that? How did he look like your dad? The mask and his shoes.
Now, Tom did have a concrete alibi the night of. He was at that poker game, people said he was there, they saw him. But still, the police wanted to look more into our Tom. And what they found was, well, no surprise. Tom had a gambling addiction. It seems like, though he wasn't playing it, he's probably still betting on it. And he was deep in debt at this point. He owed a lot of cha-ching. He also seemed to be having affairs around town. He also recently doubled Kelly's life insurance up to $1 million. Good man, Tom! Man, he really could not get over not making it into the NHL. It seems, with his gambling, with his affairs, with all his shite, it seems like he just couldn't get over, even though he had a lovely wife and kids and a good business. Man, seems like, hockey meant everything to him. Well, he meant shit to hockey. The police were also advised to speak to a certain Michael Beard.
I have to hear that again, I'm sorry.
Man, seems like, hockey meant everything to him. Well, he meant shit to hockey. The police were also advised to speak to a certain Michael Beard. See, Michael had been an employee of ServPro until he was recently fired for suspicion of stealing. He also rented out one of the units from the Claytons.
What the hell are you gonna be stealing from a freaking cleanup?
The police got a direct link between Tom and Michael Beard when, on the night of, when Tom was at that poker game while his wife, I guess, was being murdered, Tom had asked one of the hosts of that poker game if he could borrow their phone just to make a quick call. So they gave him
have a cell phone?
their phone, and when they got it back off Tom, they saw the call logs had been deleted, but they still had phone records from the actual phone company. And then when they gave all this to the police, Tom used my phone, I don't know who he called. Police checked, he called Michael Beard twice that night. Police ended up tracking numerous calls and texts between Michael and Tom. After Tom called Michael that night, Michael was on the move, and Tom had told many of the women he was sleeping with that if he split from Kelly, she would take the whole lot. Police then spoke to Michael, who didn't say anything at first. He was like, no, I don't know Tom that well, and I certainly didn't murder his wife, for maybe some kind of murder plot. What murder plot? I didn't say that, you guys did. They then spoke with Michael's girlfriend, though. She wasn't quite as hush-hush as Michael. And she was like, well, you know what? I heard Tom offered my boyfriend Michael like 10 grand to set fire to his house. Maybe. She threw him under the bus, immediately. What?
Like they say, if more than one person knows a secret, it's not a secret.
I don't blame her for that. So I guess Michael decided to take the next step without informing his girlfriend that he wasn't going to set fire, he was actually going to kill. It went from fire for hire to murder for hire. The police confronted Michael with this new information and he cracked, like, immediately. He said to the police Tom had given him the keys, he had entered through the garage. He even showed the police where he had dumped the murder weapon. The murder weapon that he used to beat Kelly Clayton to death was, like, the handle of an axe. So, basically an axe, just remove the sharp part. He took him to where, he had dumped the keys, he had dumped his bloody clothes, and he told the police Tom was going to pay him 10 grand, but he didn't take the money up front. He trusted Tom. Well, that's his own fault, really.
Guy who fired him.
Michael and Thomas were both arrested and charged with murder.
Shit.
A guy named Mark would also be charged. It seemed Michael had picked up a guest on his way to the Clayton home. Mark had been the lookout. Tom would make bail, interestingly enough, and he made the most out of it. While he was out on bail, awaiting trial, he was living his best life. Live, laugh, love. He was gambling, he was partying, he was having a great old time. Maybe he knew what was coming and he was like, I'm going to have one big great party, because then my life be over.
Good.
1 year after the murder, Michael Beard went on trial.
Michael Beard told investigators Thomas Clayton offered him $10,000 to kill Kelly Stage Clayton. From a series of voluntary interviews with Beard, the days following Kelly's death, investigators say Beard became emotional after failing a polygraph test. Beard told investigators he knew where the murder weapon was.
On trial, he recanted everything he said. He said Tom only paid him to set fire to the house and he didn't even do that. He didn't kill anybody. Don't know what you're on about. His story was completely different to his confession. He was now saying he was only hired to start a fire at the Clayton home, but when he arrived, he found a murder in progress. When the attacker saw Michael after beating Kelly to death, he threw the murder weapon at Michael, getting him all bloody. Shucks, and then Michael just decided to hide it. He panicked. Yeah, the jury didn't buy that one, and so he was sentenced to life in prison. No parole.
Beard's attorneys told the judge Thomas Clayton is the predator in this case.
His words speak for themselves. He was a predator in its truest sense, and I think he preyed on just about everybody in his life, including Michael Beard, and exploited some of his vulnerabilities and weaknesses.
Then Tom went on trial, but it wasn't quite as straightforward as Michael's. It was quite circumstantial. He was pleading not guilty. The prosecution said otherwise, that he wanted out of the marriage. He wanted the money, life insurance, baby, and he hired a man to do it. A man he knew well, who had worked for him, who had been to his house before. The frequency of contact between Michael and Tom was big frequency, like 6 to 8 calls in September. Alone, like why would you contact somebody who you had just fired that much? Unless you were working with them on some secret evil project, maybe? Video surveillance also showed that the night of the murder, Michael had driven a borrowed truck leaving the ServPro car park. He was seen leaving in that truck the same time Tom called him. Meanwhile, at the same time, while Tom was going to the poker game, he was driving a work truck, a ServPro truck. So essentially what they're saying is Tom drove to ServPro in his own car, he left it there, he went from ServPro to the poker game in a work truck, so he left his car there for Michael to come get it and drive to his house and kill his wife. So I think that's it, really. Thomas Clayton was found guilty of first-degree murder.
After about 6 hours of jury deliberation, the jury began deliberating yesterday around 10:40. They resumed this morning at 9:30, and just shortly before 10 o'clock, they had a verdict.
And sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He appealed, and it went nowhere. Mark, the lookout, he said he had no clue what, in fact, he had been looking out for, and he testified against Michael. He was sentenced to 3 to 6 years in prison. Thomas Clayton is now in Sing Sing Prison, New York.
Good.
Weird story. It kind of ticks all the boxes for being sucky, for Clayton and everyone, just being about sucky people. You got the unhappy marriage, the cheating, the life insurance. Though one thing is that Charlie, the witness who saw the person, I mean, legally Michael, I guess, but who saw the person who killed Kelly, she did say to the police it looked like her dad. That's never been, I've had questions about that. Now, she's 7 years old, witnessing something very traumatic. Maybe she just got confused about who she saw, because at the same time Tom was proven to be at the poker game. and Tom and Michael don't exactly look alike. But I guess Thomas Clayton did make it to the NHL after all. The National Assholes League. Could it? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me watching this whole video. I hope you found it as interesting as I did. And yeah, that's kind of wraps it up. So thanks. Here, listen, I'll see you as always, you know yourself, really soon in the next old video, which will be in like a couple of days. As always, remember, every Tuesday and every Friday. So till then, please take care of yourselves, cause I love you. Mike out.
Obviously, that has changed to now every Tuesday and Thursdays. And you know what, guys? Do me a favor. At least anybody who watches me react to these videos, let me be a conduit to get this dude more than over 1 million subscribers. Come on. He needs to be in the 4, 5, 6, 7. He needs to be way the fuck up there. I've seen content creators with 4 million subscribers that are not even close to his league. So can we please, you know, maybe you could tell some friends, family. I remember, this is a personal story, but I do remember talking to a couple girls. You know, I tried a dating site during the whole COVID thing. Well, not during the lockdown, but when it's kind of starting to lift up. So I don't go out to bars or really places where there's, you know, women I could meet. I was trying the whole online dating thing, and when they list true crime, I'm like, oh, have you seen that chapter? And I've seen so many funny comments on, you know, Mike's comment section, like, oh yeah, my boyfriend always says whenever I'm watching, you know, Mike from that chapter, like, oh, you're watching your little Irish boyfriend. So a lot of people know about him. Yes, a million people, it's a lot of people. But come on, man, this dude deserves far more than that. One thing I wanted to mention is that I have recently decided to start a Twitter, and you know, let me put this on black screen. It's better, right? Yeah, there we go. I recently decided, hey, I mentioned many of my videos, I don't really do social media, that stuff, but I recently decided to start a Twitter and an Instagram page. And so I wanted to go ahead and throw it out there for any of you guys who are interested in following me. Really don't have much content up on there yet, but my Instagram is Cisco, which is spelled C-I-S as in Sam, C-O 213, which happens to be my birthday, February 13th, and it does not have anything to do with an apartment number from a pretty graphic series that just came out. But let me repeat that: Cisco 213, R as in Robert, Z as in Zebra. And that's my Instagram page. I'll leave it in the description. My Twitter is, let me get there. It is at Francisco, which is F-R-A-N as in Nancy, C-I-S-C-O, R as in Robert, Z as in 3, R as in Robert, Z as in Zebra, capital I, representing the third. Yes, I am the third. I'm first, second, third. So I am the third. So at Francisco RZ, capital I. And that's my Twitter handle. So if you guys feel like following me and post little things here and there, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate you guys watching me react to such an amazing content creator. Can't get over how good he is. I'm always going to give him praise. So, yeah, until the next one, which should be tonight, thank you for watching very much. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys who have newly subscribed, and thank you guys who have subscribed. I've been subscribed for a while. I always appreciate your comments, your suggestions. If you like the video, feel free to give it a like. If you don't like it, dislike it. Tell me what I could do differently. But yeah, until then, peace.